It's book review time. Hello guys, this is LukeJ62895's speaking. Welcome to Book Reviews, episode 5, and today we're doing a book called Street Gang, chapter 4. Now, we haven't done a book review for about months now, so let's read you this book right now. See what we got, shall we? See what we got. Okay. Chapter 4. On the morning after Cooney's dinner party, thoughts were pronounce that word, for Joan at 21st and 3rd, and Lloyd Merced out in Siberia, that's what we pronounce it. The two inspired opposites, the pragmatist and the experimentalist, some way to pronounce that word. The producer wire into the worlds of politics, which I'm not into, by the way. Celebrity and issues on the social scientist plug into educational research and philanthropy, we pronounce that word anyway, were dully culminated and stirred. Cooney have awakened, prepared to undertake his mission, refreshed, energized, and dominated. Years later, she said that about almost overnight, she felt that as she had been surmounted as to a television destiny, which is a good thing actually. That would test the power and the influence of the medium. I would have to be interested interested if it had been a project to teach literally to adults, which is a good thing actually, or something for teenagers. Makes no sense to me, but whatever. She said, preschoolers were not necessarily my thing, which makes no sense to me, like I said, but whatever. It was using televisions, in a concentrative, way to turn me on. Makes no sense, but whatever. Lean, fit Marset Larry missed his rigorous, where you pronounce it, daily workout. Took a moment to watch Sarah scooting about in her PJs, thinking about the night before. It was fascinating by the notion of exploring the technology of television to reach greater numbers of needy kids. That was a cool thing, actually. At that time, there were roughly 4.5 million children entering school in a year. Cool enough, I guess. And our programs at the Carnegie Corporation. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Sorry. We're reaching perhaps a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand. Sorry. He later said up to 4 million concentrated demonstrated of 500,000 needed help. There was a huge gap between what we're doing and we're trying to escalate, what you pronounce it. And if you believe that the programs where you are funding have personal value, what you pronounce it, and you find that you are only doing a very small part of the job, and it creates a problem in your mind. How are you going to overcome it? I don't know. They got to work on the problem. Cooney and Louis Freeman at Channel 13, Morissette and two associates at Carney, um, and by mid-April, after an initial section in the Foundation's office, there already were a good number of dots to connect. Initially, primitive outline of a project that has more than frankly resembles Sesame Street began to emerge as early as the second meeting, which is cool enough. Cooney and Freeman proposed a daily program, probably a hour long, which is cool enough. Telecast twice a day for a target audience of 3 to 5-year-olds. That is a cool thing, actually. It would be shot in the studio videotape to give a live quality. There would, let me turn the page, be music, puppets, and stories. Film segments might venture beyond the set, featuring facing firehouses, policemen, hospitals, zoos, and libraries. Okay, what Cooney's Freeman had in mind as today referring to as education, entertainment, which is cool enough, a pleasurable and often commercial brand of progettery, we pronounce it. But anyway, whatever the film format they their mind when we pronounce it. Excuse me. The show was rise or fall at a single percept. Okay. It would need to be as engaging as it would be informative. That would be on no easy feat. Okay. Concerning that educational TV to that point had been well intentioned way to pronounce it, but largely stiff and colorless. If cartoons and westerns were ice cream, and educational TV was school lunch. What Cooney and Freeman hoped for would be more likely raspberry yogurt. Okay? TV that was both tangy and nauseous. Okay? Morissette understood that a serious effort to explore such a program's battery, way to pronounce it, battery, yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that word, sorry, would first necessary if researching whatever is anyone beyond the 5 people in the room thought it could work. Okay. Certainly, there was education's fine good. Way to pronounce it. Psychologist, way to pronounce it. Excuse me. Child development specialist and way to pronounce it. Whom yeah, I got spill over that. Anyway. Couldn't read it because I couldn't see, but anyway, whom they could tap for expert opinion. Okay, not only could these titers comment on the feasibility of the study, they might also offer guidelines on age-appropriate content for the show. There were buzz and the hum around the table. Excuse me. Monster had in mind a barnstorming tour of the campus and libraries across the nation to test what was only months before have been a simple question prompted by the story of the preschoolers peering at the Indian chef. Okay? Chief, excuse me. Oh man, I mispronounced that word. Someone that will have this design that researcher Scout returned to the group after a few months with the report. He or she will need to be careful and inquisitive, resourceful, and prepared, effective, and dependable. Cooney stiff and in her seat. Okay, that's fine. The proposition of reaching out for her hit list to a hit list of stages and sculptures about made Musset's ears wiggle. That's cool enough. After all, there was his kind of people, especially those of the scientific, excuse me, bent towards non-genetic matters. He was endlessly searching for and find new ways to harness invents in science, technology, and media for the greater good. Could regard Marset saying, "Maybe we could do a little study for 2 or 3 months." Okay, 2 or 3 months. Excuse me. Anyway, we could let someone go and around and talk to the various people around about how much they would view television show to help coordinate development. Okay, that's what that's when Freeman, excuse me, the program prepped up. It was a good idea, he blurted, and its ever involvement. Channel 13 could certainly run that study. Within seconds, all I feel on Cooney, the ambitious choice for the assignment to give her design and in education with her reporting background and her tenure at 13. It was if she was born to assignment. Okay. And in her mind, she started packing her excuse me. Freeman cheered her throat, clear throat, excuse me. Of course, Joan wouldn't be interested. He blurred. She was public affairs producer. Yeah. I disagree with Freeman at that point. It's just messed up. Oh yes, I would. Couldn't explain. Willing to let the comment stand for even a half second. It was meant referring her boss publicly. I didn't know it was until I said it. She later admitted. Freeman shot Cooney in a stern look. Okay? As he was understandably upset to allowing one of his most readable and level-headed producers to go galvanized, way to pronounce it, to who knows where for 3 months. This was absolutely determined not to lose me on this. Cooney said, but she was equally a minute to be chosen. The meeting ended with their matter unresolved. Days passed. Sad, I know. By dint of good fortune, Tim Cooney, who is the been the husband of Joan Cooney at the time, had a scheduled lunch for Martha to discuss matters unrelated to the TV project. Before they met, Joan argued to promote her cause. Go ahead, she said. It's never going to happen if we don't work around Lewis. It's gonna be sad if it doesn't screw up big time with Cooney, Joe Kent's Cooney. You know? Tim had no reservations about speaking up this for his wife. Again, I felt kind of bad for Joan at this point. Yeah, that's kind of different from that point on, so there you go. And not only of the memorial challenge, he might have done it for a commercial woman attempting to lead in what was then a man's world. Sad, yeah. Tim was a radical feminist. Maybe the first feminist I've been in a man's world. Yes, excuse me. Tim was a radical feminist, maybe the first feminist I ever knew, Cooney said. He always felt that the man and woman should do what they want. I came late to this idea. This is going to be a saddest thing, you know. When he was sober, 34-year-old Tim Cooney was the prince of the guy. Never. Though born in 1929 in Milwaukee, Cooney was raised in New York. He earned an undergraduate history degree in 1952 from Columbia College, the highly selective undergraduate program at Columbia University. It also was a year in which he made $35 per week in the foundry in Hanley Stevenson's presidential campaign. He proved to be something less than the model soldier during his army days at Fort Campbell. Okay, cool enough. Kentucky, perpetuated by Americans' freedom policy under the scholarship of John Foster Dulles. Corporators Cooney penned singly quote letter to the Louisville Courier Journal about the Secretary of State's administration. The commentary reached the desk of Cooney's Commentary General, and he was busted back in the rank of private. Cooney's did the thing most soldiers try to avoid. He made him self-condemnation. Sad idea. The New York Times once reported as the soldier was rebuked for registering and polity, going to pronounce it, distant with his commander-in-chief, the President of the United States. It is a sad idea. But anyway, next page. The highlight of Cooney's career as an Army private came during the doomed fight aboard a flying boxcar transport. When the plane crashed and went to Alaska, I have no idea what's going on. Cooney and the plane below the others parachute to safety. The Army pinned a commendation medal of his chest. Oh, this is screwed up big time. For saving my own life, self-destruct humor was the only part of his Ralph charm. After serving his Korean War, Cooney left America to discover Spain. Yeah, I know. Amusing the life of a soldier of the American Peninsula, would pronounce it. I don't speak Spanish, I'm sorry. he researched and wrote a scholarly tomic American Ultimate Desires, published by Parcel Palio Library in 1958. According to the Times, the book explored man's quest for answers to the fundamental problems of existence. When Tim married Joel in the winter of 1964, he was director of public relations for the New York City Department of Labor. Okay? In July of the following year, when Cooney was 35, he was a prominent executive secretary of the New York Council Against Poverty. In 1967, Cooney was named interim director of New York's Office of Civil Detectives. When the curious mandate to abolish the very department, he was chosen to temporarily lead. I don't want to become a specialist in liquid a teen where we pronounce it offices. Man. Cooney said the assignment did appeal, however, to his quest to serve and we deliberately pronounce it taxpayer funded resources in the hope that more dollars would be available to assist the poor. It made him feel like an Irish Robin Hood. So fascinated by African American culture that when Cooney, okay, that was his friends, teasingly call him the blackish man in Harlem. Makes no sense to me, but whatever. Tim and his bride of the 2 years made for a powerful 1-2 punch. We call Robert A. Harch, a former Peace Corps executive who becomes Sesame Street, the first public relations director. Hatch, I misspelled his last name. Viewed the couple as beginning social activities who found each other at the times a great social format. They were for the time a delightfully match set. Spencer Tracy and Catherine Hepburn to some who married despite difference in upbringing, station, and sobriety. They have exchanged vows in the Vatican Chapel and the Roman Catholic Church and Saint Vincent Virgil on February 22nd, 1964. In the early years of his marriage, Tim more commensurate qualities made up for his less attractive ones. When Tim drank, he could be an ill-tempered man out loud who would throw dishes around the apartment. This is sad. It's really sad. Joan learned to deduct. At their lunch, Tim Cooney spoke attorney to Lloyd Morissette about Joan. Though Morissette and the fact already concluded that she was a local person to conduct the study, Morissette phoned Joan's boss. Oh, okay. Louis Freeman. A few days afterwards, who would already like to on this is Joel. He said he meant it. Faced with the Cooney couple and run and Martha intervention, Freeman had little choice but to inquire we pronounce it. to say no would be the risk of setting the Congress vice president and jeopardize possible future funding. Creator is already certain of what she had wanted. Joan Cooney had bested her boss. Okay, I never told Lewis about this because I always felt that it was a little tricky. Cooney said it was a smidgen of guilt, but I'm awfully glad I did it. I may agree with Joan at this point. It was at the work of the previous months. I had provided a brief glimpse into the future beyond documentaries and public affairs program, a life of greater purpose in this correlations that she can do 1,000 documentaries and on very and poor people that would be watching a handful of children be convicted, but I was never really going to have a influence on my times. I would make a difference. Wanted to make a difference, excuse me. Plan set, Montserrat, started Cooney to write a proposal for the Festival study. By mid-May, it was landed on the desk by Carney President Alan J. Pfeiffer. Clip to was supporting member from Barbara Finberg. Okay, Executive Associate of Congress, which reads as follows: TV can reach children before they start the nursery school. Okay. Kindergarten or Head Start, or can they be used to reach the preschool program itself. Large numbers of children, however, will not have the opportunity to attend a preschool program, whether their parents can afford to send them to a private nursery school or whether or not they are eligible for Head Start. There seems to be a chance for that find their web television medium that can reach more children that can other method percentage available can offer all children a Head Start on their education, open their lives up for a variety of experience, and making their learning into interesting and inviting. Okay, cool enough. The personal one, quick pile, and Carney came up with some $15,000 to cover Cooney's salary and travel experiences. You know, by June she was off hot pathway, heaping bailed opinion, working her their way down a list of experts provided of Carney with a smattering of additional sources chosen by her. Over 14 weeks, she was swamped down of campus, not only the nation's inside states and private universities, but a day school is Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, and the Mastery, probably pronounce it, excuse me, preschool in Phoenix. She dropped in Phoenix research hospitals and consulted with the National Films Board of Canada. That is a cool Canada place, but anyway. She sat in the top block in the executives of CBS and NBC in New York and toured in the local station in Pennsylvania that has success with virtual program for children. She conferred with an educational specialist at Head Start and interviewed an animation team and the filmmaker, and she also met with a game show creator, Mark Guzman. Based on the game shows who did Mark beat the clock and what's my line and things like that. But from back then. But anyway, have a Goodman Tossman Productions team responsibly for giving away truckloads of wash dryers and fistfuls of cash on The Price is Right, which is nowadays come up with The Price is Right from 1972 to the present, hosted by originally by Bob Barker and now by Drew Carey. If you watch this, Alex Paris, if you watch this, but anyway, I've got a secret, The Match Game, which is now on ABC, called Match Game, and Telltales. There were 26 sessions in all, packing into a summer spirit, to airport hikes around college quadrangles. Cooney's supply her, careful, sterile notes and inspection report might on the fly without benefit of the tape recorder, given an overwinding gap in school's readiness, whatever. The educators and psychologists, where I pronounce that word, were surprisingly open with the concept of the teaching through television, which is cool enough. All of them were, to the men and women, were supportive, of the idea, even when no one knew if you can do it. You could do it, yeah, excuse me. But I knew it because I said in the study, there were singing commercials all over the country, but why would you teach something else, okay? Harvard's consummate psychologist Jerome Bronner spoke for the my geology of those interviewed, who said, "We cannot wait to the right answers before acting. Rather, we should look upon at the first year of broadcasting for preschoolers. In the nature of inquiry, there is no substance for trying in efforts." Okay. By the time her sojourn was completed in September, she was ready to significantly size her notes. Okay. Extract the major points and began typing like a H. What am I gonna say? I remember just laying stuff out of the sofa. Each chapter was just a backup. Cooney said I would call Lloyd every now and then and say, "Here's what I am," or read him a paragraph, and kept saying, "Fine, this is what we want." At one point, I said, "Who's it, the voice?" And he said, "You, we want your opinion. This is a formal report. It was not going to be published. We want to know what Jenkins Cooley thinks." After talking to these people, I have no commissions to this, except that BAs in education, bachelors of arts, but that's what it stands for, and having doing a 1/2 hour program of a subject. There you go, and that. It was a minute's leap of the faith to Lloyd to say. She got the brain power to do it. I'm interested in her opinion. He just decided that he was going to bet on me, which is a funny way that is possibly the most scientific way to pronounce it. Single personal decision for Sesame Street that would have ever made. Everybody else who came on the project from then was very qualified. I was question mark. Yeah, you don't spoil Sesame Street right now at this point. It's been 50 years since Sesame Street came on TV, so there you go. The result of Cooney's travel and distilled, neatly scheduled 55-page report entitled "Professional Use of Television in Preschool Education" gesturing, statics, questions, and facial educational gyring, Cooney wrote with ivory, carry, and bribery, and the opening pages. She provided background of long overdue effort to address the educational needs of children aged 3 to 5. Yeah, I agree. Especially those trapped in the class. Okay. The results of these years of non-fun she explained, excuse me, was oh man, I cannot just pronounce that word. Anyway, it culminated economic achievement gap between this and that Marcus it. Anyway, this is chairman. This is vengeance weapon out in middle class children. That manifests itself during the early school years and increased dramatically in the higher grades. Okay? The root of the diversity was the lack of intellectual stimulation for poor kids and in the formation preschool years. So, crucial to brain development. For management reasons, some psychological, some it culminates, and some cultural. It was cool enough. Children who, from the underclass, was arriving at the school door, out prepared, and Miles, ill-prepared. Yeah, why did you keep saying aisle? But anyway, ill-prepared, and miles beyond their middle class peers, with little chance to catch up. Okay. These students got just caught up in cycles of frustration, variety, and failure. But valiant research and cognitive development suggested that aggressive intervention could compensative way to pronounce it for what neglected children would not get in a home. At the University of Illinois, early education researcher Carl Barretter was reporting dramatic success with an intensive and endemic program for 4-year-olds. Over the course of the school year, his students broke into small groups, okay? Attended daily 2-hour sections of language, art, and basic arithmetic. The method called direct viral instruction. It had all the charm, at boot camp. But the results were starring children, had all, who were a year or more behind their middle class peers, eventually caught in several key areas by the time they were enrolled in school, and that was just I didn't know where to begin. Anyway, just one program that were made others on the way. But anyway, although the National Education Association (NEA) has voted as explanation of classrooms nationwide to include children and a year younger than the special age for kindergarten. Cooney quoted, estimated the Time magazine and that will cost $2.75 billion, annually to assimilate the 5 million 4 and 5-year-olds in that group, not counting the construction costs of new factories. It was fully to think elected officials would um, have gone that far to support education reform. Especially that, given that at the time, nearly half of America's schools districts didn't even offer kindergarten classes. This is cool. This is sad enough, which is kindergarten needs to be learned. But anyway, emerging research and experimentations had suggested that children 4 and younger were ready to grasp kindergarten and first grade concepts much sooner than previously thought, but were effectively being held back by outmoded ideas about their intellectual, social, and emotional capabilities. But preschool revolution was rumbling. A shift of chance that Kanye was helpful, civil rights, women's rights, and consumer rights, and so as environmental awareness. The nursery school model already was in decline by the mid-60s. A crumbled vintage for the heyday of Dr. Spock. Lil was an ad that asking a child in his programs beyond parts, collections, in games and songs, and remain. Let me turn the page. Okay, we're in a few pages left and we'll wrap up this episode. Anyway, quietly and intentionally during the story time, which is cool enough. Sadly enough, but whatever. At nursery schools, self-suggestions of most attack activities is considered a scared process. The report said the child what pronounce that word? Learning encouragementally learning all the encouragementally appropriate to his age or stage, whatever that means. Stage. Until recently, Cooney wrote, educators were very ignoring the intelligence of preschool children. We may have been performing a tragic disservice to young children by not sooner recognizing that their emotional, professional, and intellectual needs and are adoptless and to adopt entertainment, from 70 on. Okay? The reservoirs at heart of a more confident model of preparing young minds and had nothing against forms and games and the proper content that also recognize and the importance of emotional social growth. Okay, moving on. given that experience during the first 6 years of the child's life were a critical importance that was being able to think and learn, okay, but to fail that to offer preschoolers probably an intellectual stimulus and challenge. They said would be to squander brain power and compromise their future. Cooney quoted headmistress and Mary Roper to the Roper City Country School for gifted children in Broomfield Hills, Michigan. Good adjustment is the basic necessary for learning, she said, but learning also makes for good adjustment. Okay, moving on. Could report and answered very question Lloyd Mestret posed at the dinner party. In the television series he be designed which would actually resides that the general and special education aims that have been suggested. I believe the answer is the resounding yes. Also, about almost in the side, she added a strongly argued that the series be made in color, which is cool enough. It's cool enough. Anyway, I have to get this out of the way, man. Not long after Cooney's returned for a job at Channel 13, following completion of a vestibular study, Sheila Friedman was transferred to the office, and the station's president, John W. Jack Kermayer, as they took their seats. Kermayer flipped through pages in the fat report. This is sad. On his desk, Folly turned to Cooney. "I don't mean to put you down," he said, "but in fact, you are not an expert in preschoolers." Yeah, I agree. Your support is filled with "I think," "I believe," "I suggest." Exactly who you've been saying this, why you everyone be interested in your opinion. For a few moments, there was a awkward silence. Then Cooney cleared her throat and said, while Secretary Jaglai couldn't agree with you more. There was silence again, but as Cooney collected her thoughts up until the point there no one in position influence had questioned their and Sturrid's tone in the study or his convention. She had encouraged by Lloyd Mestret not only to says what she had learned during the cross country, interviews, but also to analyze and comment upon it. Cooney finally spoke. The Carnegie Corporation in New York is very interested in what I think. Good enough. I know you will find that difficult to believe, but this is the truth. Yeah. I just don't understand it, Commander replied, not accepting the vote of conference for his producer. Fair enough. Cooney returned to her desk, thinking about what have gotten her to Channel 13 in the first place. Someone was working on the U.S. Steel Hour was leaving to get to Boston to work for the educational station, WGBH, in Boston. Cooney recalled, this is going to be a sad thing, actually. Almost shouted, educational television was that. My heart started pounding. I couldn't believe there was such a thing, and I knew in a flash this was something I wanted to be part of. The problem was there was even a station in New York at the time, but that was a lawsuit that the Educational Broadcasting Corporation (EPC) against the era of the commercial station. Channel 13 EPC won the suit. I called everyone I knew in New York saying, "Give me to that general manager I have to work there." A friend smoothed it the way the Cooney to speak by phone with Channel 13's general manager, Richard D. Hefner. The generation went like this. Coming on the publishers for Channel 13, Hefner said, I got a publication. I need producers. Cooney said, oh, I can do that. Hefner also said, everyone says that. Cooney said, I know all these people, but because all the parents and we knew in Democratic politics, I knew it was the issues. Hefner said, their shows were going to be about national issues. Cooney more instances, I know those too. Hefner's lack of interest in her did not deter Cooney. And she's staying much. Sure, I was buffing when I could produce. Cooney admitted, but not anymore what I said. I knew who was who in public, in cultural affairs. And when I said could get good interviews, I was such a big reader that I did. In fact, I knew the issues and Ferguson and Dominica's policy. This is sad, no. And the civil rights movement, which became the great passion of those for years for me. Hefner finally agreed to schedule a formal interview with Cooney. Next page. Who hauled by a black injury, which is a sad thing, by the way, and comforted by Brace Nonfless, arrived well ahead of time at the coordinated office of Channel 13, directly above Lindy's restaurant and 52nd Street. Henry soon returned from lunch for the female colleague. Okay, when I saw the lovely woman when I was about to interview, I blurred I was going to hire the dame, you know. The woman I was with got to peed off. I'm not going to say the P word in this video, but anyway. But I tell you this, it doesn't hurt to the beautiful as brilliant. It was a brief interview that says this. Hefner, I decided to give you a try. Gooney said great. Hefner said, but I'm not going to pay you what I'm making now. Gooney tried and said, hey, cut's fine. Hefner's a bit surprised. Alright then, I want you to produce a weekly show called Court of Reason. Really? I never heard of the show, but what's Court of Reason? I have to watch that and see what happens on the American Archive Public Broadcasting.org. You link in the description below. But anyway, the idea is two advisors will argue an issue before a panel of 3 expert judges. Really, that's a court show. But anyway, it's like the People's Court nowadays and Judge Judy. So there you go. Great, says by Cooney. Hefner said, when you can start. Cooney would quickly describe a plan on whatever a $3,000 pay cut. I have a $1,000 in the bank. Says, yeah, that was a great idea for Cooney, you know. And I figured I could have 100 in every month. That was a cool thing, but that was a great idea, exactly. To make it up the shortfall. She said, I figured that by the time I ran out of money, I get the raise. It never crossed my mind that the things would work out exactly. Yeah, the way I advised right down. Okay, this thing's gonna be more than an hour when I'm recording this. You know, one day early in her tenure, Channel 13, employees were in assuming that to meet and the vice president programming Louis Freeman. There he sat and handsome and the movie star with a resolvent voice of trained actor, which is cool enough. Cooney recalled he did what I had heard no other later in public television before. Yeah. He created a thrilling and palpable vision of what public television can be. Okay, could be. Excuse me. Wherever had spoken in eye glazing gerabilities. Excuse me. Where are we here? About education and uplift, Lewis stunned us with a public picture. Excuse me, he created. He made us see what had led him to that place. A place about limited less and public possibilities for providing emulation and excitement and evaluation. Okay, it was at least for me, okay? And then Vanny listened to him. I knew it's insane that I've been waiting to work for such a creative and intellectual force, and what is the time we had, what days we saw. That was cool. In the pitiful pinch budget, okay, she and her associates had produced a steely stream of half-hour investigations, okay, going on. Little Grandma Moses documentaries, Cooney's called them, that were will receive by Channel 13 viewers a chance to begin the film about the Martin Dutcher, excuse me, work with Hammond's producers, okay, with the okay, with just one among many, okay, all done on the shoestring, excuse me, market moment, but anyway, the station was really broke. Cooney, okay, said, but Louis Freeman came up with one brilliant idea about another after another. That was cool. One of which was doing teachings on a major issue on television, which is cool enough. Not only providing reverting as a show concept, but it also had value of being trapped. The styling quality on of all the shows we did in the period. Lewis and I became a prime tonic and less criminal version of Bonnie and Clyde. Cool enough, I guess. Traveling by car all over New Jersey and New York, trying to brag, borrow, and steal money from local party magazines in order to put it upon shows about their programs like Bonnie and Clyde were notably unsuccessful, probably because in the spirit of the times, we were not non-violent, sad enough. We finally went ahead without money and went put on the 3-hour anti-poverty teaching entitled Poverty, Anti-Poverty and the Poor. That show won one of the 8 Emmys and won an award to the Channel 13 that year. Cool enough. Amount to 3/4 to the about the foes given of the region, okay? All based on the ideas of Louis Freeman, who won the Special Emmy for proceeding over wit such an preceding what we pronounce it Triumph. Cooney, as producer, was awarded an Emmy for the broadcast, okay? The audience for the shows might have been comparatively small by nation's rating standards, but the viewers who have this tune in with serious mind, adults were caring about matters of race, okay, injustice, and the imbalance and of bars in New York and beyond. That Quisnet's argumentative schoolgirl from Phoenix was tackling topics that made Bob Brown decide. Her roster social studies teacher quite proud she had Grumpton. From her earliest days at 13, Cooney also produced the show she was hired for. Of course, for reason, which I talked about in the book before. I said People's Court, I said Judge Judy, that's how I talk about it anyway. For Cooney, it was a trial by fire. For the time, she was a no production experience. Yet her fair-mindedness and eagerness to understand all sides and the issue were powerful assets. They were looking for someone to no axe to grind, she said. They got her. The graduates of lining up gas a court of reason would have made even a veteran producer Leach, let alone a rookie. People love to appear on television, but looking for expert good guests, okay, on the single subject was not an easy thing. I was not a constant, stressful state. It was a live television. Given Cooney's division of the station, it was live with a wonder that she had in mind was the production center of the proposed preschool show. The feasibility study dated as much, but that was not to be, but at least as long as Jack Kerr-Mayer was in charge. Neither Jack nor Louis Freeman made any moves to get it, and they had to move on to the last 2 pages. My half, Cooney said, Jack did not see the prominent involved with Channel 13. Freeman, who was cast with Kerr-Mayer, was not good long for the station, okay? That they disagreed over the praise used over the line of dialogue containing a 4-letter word. Freeman dug in his heels. Oh my, this is not gonna make any sense. And saying that the piece there is Wharton. Yeah, the impressive ended with dismissal. Shortly after, Cooney signed a 1-year solidarity agreement with the Carnegie Corporation. It was called for her to split her time between working on the preschool project with Margaret, who agreeably encouraged her, and working with Carnegie President Alan J. Parker. Sad, no. On developing a National Citizens Committee for Public Television, which was invented as a high-minded lobby group. Margaret and Pryor have argued to leave Channel 13. That's a sad thing. and she did a little regret. Out the door walked a woman who, within a few short years, would provide public television with a breakthrough program. Cooney's first tag at Carney was to begin a write a revisited and expanded version of a feasibility study for provincial funding sources to review. It was preferred as a sales document and would incorporate projections about the show's concept and development cost and structure. Montserrat gave her 3 months to complete it. That is a cool thing, I guess. And mindfully and disconsolate others responsibilities, way pronounce it, at Congress, encouraged Cooney to hire a professional writer as an assistant. That's cool. Let me just get this out of the way. Cooney convinced her former associate, Linda Cardileb, to take a freelance assignment for about $1,200. Wow, that's a lot of money. At Channel 13, they have at a joining desk at Cooney's Linda, to be quick, smart, and low to fun. The Cardileb was a working mom. Raising 2 preschoolers was a great plus. She and I spent hours on the phone at night, and we met for lunch at almost every day. Cooney said. After a while, that they were finishing each other's sentences and playful brainstorming. She say, I got an idea. I would say, I got an idea. Okay? She got him quickly consent a festively study into the opening chapter for the new report. While doing so, she found herself agreeing with the observation the kids could not resist the TV commercials caught up. It was true that her home that Justice was for fathers Montserrat and Pfeiffer, okay? At 4-year-olds, Sarah Montserrat is memorized as her entire reportive of TV jingles, okay? The simple melodies, mostly written in bright major keys, were no harder into saying than the nursery rhyme, okay? Cool enough. The more Sarah heard them, the better she will be repeating them for word for word. It was not too far that a stretch to say that Sarah's mastery of jingles led to a central hospital bias, the great experiment that we know as Sesame Street. If television could successfully teach the words, and music is advertisements, couldn't it teach children more suspense material by cooperating, the very elements that made ads for so deceptive? In other words, in the story they have and their real brains can snap, crackle, and pop. It's like, for example, Rice Krispies. That is cool enough. For a cereal commercial, that is cool enough. It's current, similar, intellectual, and duplicating the teaching children the concepts over, around, under, and through by using a song. That is cool. It was understood that young children were at times a creative audience in front of the tube, which led Cooney to the major conclusion in a report that the Carnegie Corporation was the accomplishment. The preschoolers were a repetitive audience, as well as the commercial and attentive. Okay, anyone who has small television viewers at home can testify the nation that commercials hold for children. Parents report that their children learn the desire sorts of advertising slogans. We report names in the screen more remarkably elsewhere. In the same commercial jingles, okay? And we accept the price mirror that commercials are effective teachers, if it's important to be aware that characteristics and the most emphasis being fragrant preparations, clever visual presentation, briefly and carefully. Whether you hear Sesame Street has been brought to you today by the letters T and the number 8, think of Sarah Marcelet singing the jingle of her tutu. And that was chapter 5 of this book. Chapter 4 of this book, excuse me. What do I think about this book? It was amazing. So far, this book went to be a success. Anyways, that wraps up for the episode 5 of book reviews. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be a brand new episode of LukeJ62895's, episode 249. But until next time, this is LukeJ62895 saying goodbye. Peace out, baby. We're going to be discussing very soon. But when Jeff was saying out. See ya.